Memories with Meg. Meg! So a lot of my memories recently have been not so much memories as they are recent experiences. This is one of those, but it's also totally wicked. These are the mangled remains of my car. Just drink that in for a second. This is going to be the rehashing of the story of how I should be dead. Now y'all are familiar with my really good friend the YelloDart. This past week he and I were heading out of state to go visit some friends of ours. We decided to take my little SUV, which I've had since I was 16. It's a good little vehicle. And it's also a slightly better outfit than he has. Mine actually has an air conditioning, a rebuilt engine, and I'd just gotten brand new tires. So we packed up in my car, started driving up the highway, ended up visiting his sister, having a bunch of other fun times, and ultimately heading a little bit further north than we already were to go visit these other friends of ours. It was just the two of us in the car, and we were driving on the freeway, with him in the driver's seat and me in the passenger seat. We were in the left lane, the closest cars around us were about probably a mile in front of us and a half mile behind us. We were fairly alone, when suddenly we heard an explosion. And this is when time slowed down. I acknowledged really fast that one of my tires had just popped. Popped is a very gentle word. It exploded. Burst. Erupted. And as soon as that happened, I started going through things in my mind that we could possibly do to get out of this. Maybe we can pull over to the side of the road. Maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe we can just change the tire and get out of it. We're pretty close to where we're going. Maybe his friends can come get us. This all went through my head right before we lost control. The YelloDart had both of his hands on the wheel, and right as the tire exploded, he kept us going straight and steady. But it was the back driver's side tire, and because it was that tire specifically, we started to drag. Facing forward, we started to turn, and our momentum pushed us forward, and then directly into the guardrail. We hit the guardrail head on, and I remember watching us hit the guardrail as the windshield exploded, and that's when I closed my eyes, and the car flipped. I remember the feeling of being airborne because it's uncannily like being on a roller coaster. We were airborne as we crossed back across the freeway, and then hit the ground on the other side, and rolled. The airbags went off, there was a lot of glass smashing. I kept my arms braced like this the whole time. I had my eyes closed but I could feel everything. And after the car rolled over once, we settled and stopped. It all happened really fast, blink of an eye. We had settled upside down after rolling, and first thing I remember was him yelling my name to make sure that I was okay. Since we were hanging upside down, I responded, kind of looked around to make sure that we weren't going to get hit by another car coming up behind us on the freeway, and I unbuckled my seatbelt and fell down onto the roof of the car, which was now on the ground, and crawled over to him. He wasn't really being responsive, because he was just gathering himself. I got him to talk to me. He told me he was stuck in his seatbelt. And so being the ever-prepared Boy Scout that I am, I opened up my center console and got out my seatbelt cutter. And using my handy-dandy seatbelt cutter, I cut him free from his seatbelt and he just fell down. This is a knife, but it's all I got. By the time he fell down and we were both in the roof of the car just kind of gathering ourselves, people were pulling us out of the wreckage, and they seemed more surprised that we were okay than they would have been if we were dead. It was bad. He got pulled out one side and I got pulled out the other side. I was just sitting up against the guardrail. One of the people who had pulled us out of the car was actually a nurse, and so she was pulling glass out of our hands and bandaging us up with the medical kit that I had in my car, always prepared. Until the EMTs and the police could come and, do their thing. These people were wonderful. So nice, so helpful. They were helping us, they were directing traffic, they were picking up my stuff that had been scattered all across the freeway. It was phenomenal. After the police and the EMTs finally arrived, we were just kind of like, hey, we're fine. Can we fill out this paperwork and just get this towed? We want to get out of here. And the EMTs were not the brightest bulbs in the package. They were both kind of in training still, and so they were taking our blood pressure, and specifically they were taking the YelloDart's blood pressure. And they're saying things like, oh, your blood pressure's really high. Do you have a history of high blood pressure in your family? And he's going, no. Well, do you have high blood pressure? Can you think of any reason that you would have high blood pressure? And the YelloDart just looks at them, looks at the car. Really? I mean, I almost died, but no big deal. It's all good. No worries. And they were great. I mean, we weren't really injured, and so all they did was are you sure you don't want to go to the hospital? No. But are you sure? I'm gonna pass on this one, but thanks. Appreciate it. Honestly, while we were sitting on the guardrail talking to him, I kind of got bored and started doing my own thing. To hear the YelloDart tell the story, he was filling out paperwork and doing all of the big kid stuff, while I did cartwheels in the road and took selfies. Yeah, that's not even a lie. I did that. It's true though, the policemen and the EMTs were sitting him on the guardrail and they were like, you can't move. You have to stay here, sir. This is your responsibility. You have to be an adult. And I'm like running across the street, like picking stuff up, like waving. I'm taking selfies. I'm like trying to motion over to him so he can come take selfies with me. Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. The policeman's like grilling the YelloDart. So neither of you were wearing seatbelts? It's like, dude, look at this wreck. Do you think we would be alive if we weren't wearing seatbelts? No. So it looks like you lost control of your vehicle. I mean, we're not really sure of the cause. Our tire popped. We lost control. Yeah, we can't really be sure of that until we come to some kind of conclusive reasoning. At that point, the tow truck driver came out, started loading up my car, and is like, oh, looks like you have a popped tire. So we got it towed. We were okay. We walked away from it. And not only did we miraculously survive, but our phones miraculously survived too. I found my phone about 5 feet behind the crash as soon as I got pulled out from the wreckage. We found his phone after actually getting to the tow yard up inside of the upper console of the car. It's amazing. I was actually crawling around in the wreckage, inside the car, trying to find his phone, and as I got in the car it was amazing to see. It's like there was a perfect bubble of untouched, not crashed area in the car around him, and the same on the side where I was, where there was just... it was just untouched. We were very, very blessed to survive. I mean, it's cool. I'm still here to tell you these stories. I'm alive. So you can kind of see my injuries. The worst that I got is I got some bruising on my arm right here. It's alright. There's also scratching all down my arm, but you can't really see it because it's healed. The glass did a number. I'll have cool scars. I also have some good deep tissue bruising on my hips from the seatbelt because the whole hanging upside down thing. But walked away. YelloDart has awesome cuts all up his hands from holding onto the steering wheel through the crash and like keeping us alive. He's amazing. So he's gonna have wicked scars from the glass cuts. It's really all we have by way of injuries. So, moral. Sometimes you crash your car and you just gotta roll with it. Get it, roll with it. I make traumatic experiences funny. Wear your seatbelt. Seriously. Wear your seatbelt. I recommend all of the emergency preparedness supplies in your car. I had my seatbelt cutter and my first aid kit, and they came in way handy. Be prepared. Yeah, that's my advice. It's actually pretty serious this time. Keep your cool, don't panic. Neither of us went into shock. We were both just kind of like, oh, this sucks. Let's make jokes about it instead. I'm alive. You're welcome.